Hello, everybody. It's John Kranz. I want to greet you again to Compass Games Live, or episode 55, April 29th. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you all. You're all stuck with me for tonight. There's no special guests, and unlike a few weeks ago, my voice seems to be working. So you guys might be out of luck this week with me being available. But it is great to be here, and we've got a lot to cover. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share the screen here, and let's get an update on our schedule, our pipeline. So what we have, we did have some announcements today that I'll cover about the newsletter. So the latest news is Paper Wars issue 97. Last week I announced it was out to subscribers. As of now, it's out to everybody. So if you did a individual order for Paper Wars 97 Galicia, you're covered. It's now shipped. So everything's shipped for Paper Wars 97. Also, I'm hoping a few of you will be quite pleased to learn that Joe Bukowski's The Korean War Designer Signature Edition is now officially released. So that game is now shipping as well. So again, I hope, I know a lot of you have been waiting quite a long time for the Korean War. So all smiles from our side that we could get the game out and released. So that game is now officially shipping as well. And also upcoming titles, there's really been no change to the schedule, as you can see here. We've obviously got Bukowski's Korean War that was slated for early May last week. So now that's gone out a little bit early. Fortunately, we were able to get it out this month, April, as we had hoped. So that's taken care of. So we still have 3 releases coming up for May. We have Indian Ocean Region, The War of the Pacific, NATO, and then we have the 4 releases for June. Defending America, which we had an interview with Gregory Smith recently about. And then we've got the South China Sea reprint, which goes with Indian Ocean Region, same system. And then we've got for the War Pacific, we've got now the War Europe reprint, since that's been out of print for some time. But again, the schedule itself is holding very solid. It's very firm. So no changes, nothing really shifting. We're just happy to say that we've gotten Korean War is now shipping. So hope that's good news for everybody to hear that it's going to be pretty busy. Got a lot of games coming out, and I think I've seen Crusade and Revolution and Napoleon's Imperium. I've seen a lot of folks playing that, even Galicia. I've seen some coverage of Galicia as well, so it's great to see that the games are getting out. Our newsletter went out this morning. In case you weren't able to subscribe yet, you can do it from the top of our homepage. You can hit the subscribe link, and then you can fill in your email address. And again, the big news was our announcement that Korean War is now shipping. Also, Paper Wars 97 is out to everybody, including individual orders. And somewhat of a surprise announcement, but I think a lot of you might know this already, is since we've got the Korean War out by Joe Bukowski, we have another Bukowski game we've got on pre-order right now. It's St. Lo. So a little, give you some of the background on how this transpired. So Jack Green with Quarter Deck International, he did this game with a Chinese publisher. And of course it has English rules, so can be played no problem for again, English readers, not a problem at all. And we're have a nice partnership now with Jack, where we're able to provide that back office support. So we're effectively selling St. Lo now. And what we're doing in between the time of getting the games to the warehouse, we've done this pre-order. So we've just set up this pre-order because literally we've got cartons and cartons, and actually I think it's 2 pallets. We've got 2 pallets that are already on their way to the Compass warehouse. So we're going to treat this as a pre-order until we've got fully stocked up on the game. But it's got nice mounted maps. Check out the pre-order page. Just type St. Lo. You'll see it on our website. I've got some actual pictures from the game itself, the actual components out of the box. You can see very nice, heavy mounted map, the typical nice, thick, rounded corners from overseas. Yeah, really a great game. And like I mentioned, you've got your English rules. You don't have to worry about that at all. So definitely consider picking up the game if you haven't had the chance to get it already. We're hoping it might be easier for you just to order direct from Compass. especially you have an excuse now because we've got another Bukowski game that we just announced that's shipping. Some people were also wondering about what's next with Joseph Bukowski. So we're going to be starting work next week on Fifth Fleet. So that's going to be the Fleet series, and we're starting with Fifth Fleet from Joe Bukowski. What we're doing with this, it's not going to be any type of updates or changes to the game. Really think of this as a straight reprint, other than all the components are going to be brand new. We're going to make sure any known errata gets worked into the maps, counters, rules, but it's really going to be a straight reprint as far as Fifth Fleet goes. No changes being made to the system, but we're looking forward to getting Fifth Fleet started. So that's the big news. I think that's probably the bigger news, is that we've got St. Lo now in the house, and we'll start shipping it fairly soon. We've got just 2 days left for our specials for April, the 2 Civil War bundles. Thanks for those who reached out to let me know they took advantage of the offer and picked up the games. They're both 2 really good games. And you've got 2 more days if you're interested in picking them up. So please check out the discounted pricing on our website. Also, the big news is we've officially got Compass Games Expo registration open. It's not very obvious from our website, I will admit, simply because we're waiting to add the main navigation to announce Expo. But absolutely, if you go back to the website, I could actually just start typing Expo right here, and you'll see Compass Expos right there, and we'll take you to this page. And basically you can, the way it works is you would just register now by paying the $45 for the full event. It's November 11th through the 15th. It's extended over Veterans Day weekend. And we've got the show hours and everything listed on the page. So if you just want to show up at the door just for a single day, you don't have to pay now. You can just pay at the door. But if you're going to register for the whole event in November, it's going to be, again, the price is $45. It's the same price as before. And then again, we've got a description here. Just not to hopefully avoid some confusion, and I think this will get easier once we add the Expo page, is there is the paying part to the registration, but you still have to actually register to let us know what you're looking to play. So in other words, when you pay to be there, you're not 100% registered yet. You've just basically bought your ticket for Compass Games Expo. The next step is this register here button. And if I click on it, it will launch right into I'll see if I can expand this, make it a little bit easier for you to see. So this is our actual registration for the event. So you put in your contact information, what day you think you'll be arriving. Our doors open 5 p.m. on Thursday the 11th. So just let us know when you think you'll be arriving. Will you be staying at the hotel at the event site, which is Comfort Inn and Suites? This, by the way, will be an upgraded venue from what we had before. We were hoping to be there last year, but of course it was canceled last year. So this will be a new venue for 2021 that we're really excited about. Also, for those that like to take a walk outside and be able to hit some stores, find some places to eat, it's gonna be a much easier location to grab some food, take a break, go outside. There's gonna be some shops in the area that are walking distance. So again, just some information, and then it's all about making your Expo game selections. And again, you can change your game selections at any time. You might be non-committed right now for November, or if you think you really know what you want to play, we ask you to just pick your top 3 game choices. Then you can pick several backup choices, and again, you can change your choices at any time. This helps us get the participant sheet started, and we actually log and show who's picked which game as their first choice, second choice, third choice. Then we match you together, and that's basically how the system works. So again, we're real excited to be able to move forward with Compass Games Expo. Also, to let you know, just like with any in-person event of this size, if you ask about what's the policy going to be, we could almost ask the same question, because for us, it's pretty straightforward. Our policy is going to be whatever it is for the state of Connecticut, the county, Meriden, the county, whatever the county city statutes of Meriden are, and then of course what the hotel policy is regarding in-house groups. So there's going to be those regulations there, of course, just like with any other in-person event. We're going to take whatever precautions we need to take, absolutely. But please understand, we're going to be beholden to comply with federal, state, local, and hotel regulations. But we're also, I think the good news here is we're looking at November, Veterans Day. It's pretty far out, and so I'm very hopeful about that. I'm even hopeful, very hopeful, and things are looking very positive with my own Consum World Expo, end of August, early September. We've got good early registration activity already taking place for late August, and this is going to be November. And don't forget, as Bill would tell you, probably the best reason to show up, well, hopefully it's the best reasons to meet others and for us to get together. But I think the best reason to show up is the ultra discounted prices of all Compass products we have available for you to pick up. So that's always really exciting to see. But again, we've got some information for you on our website. I promise we'll get that little navigation called Expo added to the main navigation as soon as I possibly can. As far as upcoming, we already mentioned Indian Ocean region is going to be the next release. Coming in May, and then there's 2 more after that. We're obviously right now in our live broadcast, so if I do a refresh here, the time's run out because we're doing this right now. And last week we enjoyed having Gregory Smith on. We covered 4 or 5 of his game titles. We talked about some future projects he's going to be doing. You gave us some great ideas for other projects of his. So as always, it was great to have Greg on again just to catch up with him. And again, there you go. So there's the newsletter. Please make sure you sign up to it when you can. Also, I want to share with you an update to the website. So let me just now make this smaller so it's not crushing you. So yes, we released, as I mentioned, issue 97. I think we're getting a lot of attention with this release. A lot of folks we're really excited to see. For some time now, we had Battle for Galicia from Michael Rush coming in an issue of Paper Wars, and that wait is now over. A lot of people are getting the game now. So just to help out, just to let you know, if you scroll down just a little bit, and this is the same for any product page, we have our rules errata downloads area. And if you click on Battle for Galicia rules booklet, you can go ahead and just view the rules online. So you can go through the rules. The rules, again, look great. Great design by Michael Rush. We're so pleased that we could come out and release this game as part of Paper Wars with the mounted counters. If you're all looking for that PDF to download, we're a little sneaky about that. Just look at our logo and you'll see a little download arrow. It has a little tip, a user tip there. You just click download, and that's that PDF right there. So you can get a PDF to print or to view in Acrobat, no problem, but we just want to provide you this on-screen capability as well. Also, I want to give a hat tip out to Martin Spetz over on Facebook. He shared with us what he's done as far as bagging the components for Galicia. So really cool idea. I want to share with you some of his images here. So here's a really good shot of it. So you've got the game, the map, and you can see in his little Ziploc bags, he's got little custom made, what formations go into which baggie. So much like you might do with a counter tray, put little stickers on top. I really like what Martin's done here. He's actually created these little cards you put in front of the little mini baggies, and you're off and running. So cool concept, Martin. Just wanted to share that. So props to you there. It looks really nice put away. So that's great. Also props to our Facebook group. So there's a new independently sponsored Compass Games enthusiast group. So just want to give you a heads up. If you just type Compass Games, you'll find the enthusiasts group, almost up to 200 members now. And you'll see a lot of fun talk about Compass Games. There's Napoleon's Imperium, with getting set up and played, some good close-ups. Test of Faith, that's a game coming soon from Adam Starkweather. That's going to be close to going to production. All the artwork's basically done. So some fun stuff in here. And of course, we've got our own Compass Games. We've got our own Compass Games page as well, where we are broadcasting live from today. So just wanted to share that with you. Now, what I have in mind for tonight is I thought we would go around the horn. I thought we could all sort of take back a collective sigh of relief that, we haven't, this is actually the first time I think I've done this sort of solo. I've done so many town halls. I've done 20 town halls with Bill. That's bi-weekly. So that's over 40 weeks. That's 7 or 8 months right there. And then I think if you look at all the recent or past Compass Games Live episodes that we've done, I've always had a designer on. So it's, this is a little bit different. It's almost like starting over for me in a way to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and go around the horn. What I want to do is I I'd like to cover a few games to give you some updates tonight on several projects, and then we'll get to your questions and comments as well. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions and comments for me since it's just me tonight. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I want to give an actual follow-up to our discussion we had with Gregory Smith last week, because we've only shown for American Tank Ace up to now. We've shown really just the wonderful the Armor Fighter vehicle, the tank artwork done by Matt White. Matt's a great artist. He does everything digitally from scratch. I've shown you some of his artwork of the tanks, the armor units, but really we haven't had any type of components to show you until now. So Nadir has started working as our artist on the components for the game. So I want to share with you that idea again. I've shown you sort of the tank artwork from Matt. So here's our first realization of what the mats are going to look like for American Tank Ace. So here you can see, and if you know Gregory Smith's solitaire games, you'll be very familiar with this. Like if it's those U-boat games, or even the games Night Fighter Ace, etc. It's usually that soldier, it's that uniform, and you've got the different awards, etc. Here we've got these spaces for the crewmen on the AFV, on the fighting vehicle, and then you can see at the bottom there's more information about the tank gunner, tank commander, gunner, driver, etc. You're playing the role of the tank commander, and you've got your crew. But like Gregory's game, he builds this big narrative around what's happening, and that's what you're really seeing illustrated here. So I'll just zoom in here just a little bit more, just so you can see it a little bit better here. But I hope this gives you a good idea. You're tracking your armaments, your loads, your armor values, side, hull, turrets, all your crew. The turret facing is on the left. There's, of course, random events. We could not do without random events. You've got your hold down or open country as far as where you are as well. And again, just a lot of information on here. Yes, we just need to add, I think I agree with Ken here. Maybe we just put Telly Savalas on the cover here, and I think we're good to go. So I absolutely agree with you. So there's a little bit there about American Tank Ace. So I'm really excited about what's going to be coming there. I think it's going to be great. So let's talk about, again, let's go around the horn. Let's talk about a few other things tonight, some other projects. Yes, I've got a lot of stuff to show you, so I'm probably scaring you. But let's go here to Pontiac's War. So John Paniski, I think a lot of you raise your hands. I think you're fans of John Paniski's work. He does some great games in this period. So Frontier Rebellion of 1763 through 66. Newt Grunitz is doing the components for the game. So I thought I'd just share with you here, and we'll zoom in. Excuse the dog barking. But here's a little zoom in of the map, just to give you a better idea of what the artwork looks like, give you a good idea there. So we're really excited to give you this preview tonight of Pontiac's War. So I've also got the counter sheets here for you that I'll show. So we'll just hop on over to there's 3 counter sheets, by the way. So lots of counters. So I've got the nice artwork there, again, for the forces. And let's go to the other forces here in the next counter sheet. So different, here's some more. We're going to probably be adding the labels here for what countries they belong with, etc. Constituents, but yeah, a lot of good information here. So 3 full counter sheets. Here we go with the Indians. I got to zoom in on this part. This looks really good. This artwork here. Got some wounded markers. Oh boy. so we got some really colorful. Yeah, we've got some really good John Paniski, Newt Grunitz artwork. Here's the backside, by the way. So again, just want to share with you again, some of the artwork we have to go with the map. So very colorful game. So between this and putting those counters on this map, yeah, it's going to be a festival of colors and light taking place with Pontiac's War. So again, just want to give you an update on that. We're making really good progress with the game. So the next step on Pontiac's War is we're going to need help with proofing of the rules. So the rules booklet work has already begun. So I'm going to be looking for volunteers that are willing to read the rules, see if they make sense, what's missing, what can we do to improve it, any typos, grammar errors, things of that nature. But yes, pretty much all the charts and tables, player aid cards, everything's pretty much wrapped up. And I hope you like what you see. And John Paniski, yeah, he's done some really fun stuff. Now, another item that I've gotten a lot of questions about is the Eastern Front Operational Battles Quad. So that's by John Thiessen, and actually he did 2 of these battles appeared 7, 8, 9 years ago from High Flying Dice Games. We're doing it as a quad game, so we added 2 new battles to the game. So East Front Operational Battles, we have not at all talked about that game whatsoever. So what I'd like to do is share with you the game maps and the counter sheet for the game. And again, it's a quad game. Let me just set this up a little bit. Think of them as SPI quad, 17 by 22 half maps. What it is each of the 4 games can be completed on a half map. So you're probably familiar with that, for example, with Brief Border Wars, as an example. So that's the concept. You've got 4 games. It does have a standard rules booklet, standard to all 4 games, and then you've got the exclusive rules for each of the 4. So there is that as well. But there's one little kicker, and that is 2 of the 4 battles can be combined. So 2 of the half maps actually come together, and the 4th game basically extends the 3rd game. But it can be played separately as well. So you can do the early stage or the later stage of the battle, but basically you can also bring them together, which brings you a full-size map for that. So I'm going to show you that now. I want to show you, let's start with the half map games first, however. So let's do that first. So again, this is Operation Romanitsev. I'm going to pronounce it wrong probably. I'll zoom in here just a little bit because I think it will allow me to do that. But you can see pretty straightforward, small size. You know, this is a game you're going to be able to get into and play quickly. The standard rules, you know, are going to weigh in at 8 to maybe 10 pages of rules with illustrations. It's meant to be very playable. Bruce Urian is the artist. A funny story, Bruce Urian worked with John Thiessen on the first 2 games that are part of this quad that we're updating. The game system has been updated from the original 2 games. So if you do have the original 2 games from High Flying Dice Games, John Thiessen actually had updated the rules, have these 2 new battles included. So yeah, everything actually is an update. Then we've got the other battle here. Well, let me see. Actually, I skipped one. So there's also Oral. I skipped Oral Salient. So here's the Oral Salient. So we can pull in this one a little bit. This one looks like to be about a full half-size map. So this is pretty much a full half-size map here. July 12th through August 14th, 43, part of the Kursk Salient, obviously. So again, that hopefully gives you a good idea. This would be the second half map for the game. But now let's go ahead. Now what's going to happen is we're going to take one map sheet, and it's really going to be sort of a combination of 2 games. You can still play the games as half games separate, but we're going to have both of them together as well. So let's see what it looks like together. So here, if you can sort of notice already, you can already see by the different shape of the maps. We've got the one half map here that has a landscape mode for Operation Frederikus. And then we've got up here, if you want to extend it further into the later part of the campaign of the operation, that takes us right here into Operation Pincers. So you can do both battles by themselves. So you can just use half of the map to do those. These are 2 quad games that you can play separately, or just do it like this, have the maps together, and you've actually got two games worth of counters, the rules, the combined rules, and this basically extends the game out, combines the 2 games together, and that's what you're going to have there. So what I sort of like about this, and I know, I remember Danny Parker's Battles for the Ardennes by SPI. I really liked how he had separate scenarios, including he did Sedan 40. But every map was its own game, Salas, Clairvex, etc. So they all had their own half. They all had their half maps, and then you had the whole campaign with all 4 maps together. What's nice here is you don't just have the half maps and that's it. You've also got a situation where 2 of the games do come together to extend the battle those extra weeks. So that's a nice touch, I think, to see that. So I thought that was worth just pointing out. The counter sheet itself is right here. So I'm going to get the number wrong. I believe it's 2 counter sheets, but I could be wrong. I could be quoted wrong here. Actually, I think it's, it's actually 3 counter sheets. That's what I thought. So it's 3 counter sheets. We've got some of the counters here. Again, I've already mentioned to you, it's not going to be a lot of pages of rules, right? 8 to 12 pages in that ballpark. So that's why you're not seeing seeing 100 different values on these counters at this scale. It's going to be a very playable game. Of course, the rules have special circumstances. There can be random events. There are player decisions that can happen. So there is going to be some chaos, an order of magnitude of chaos to the game system. It's not just simple factor counting, in other words. But let's do a quick drive through of the counter sheet. So here you've got the air units here, as well as you can see we've got loss of equipment, engineers, depots. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff built in here. That's the back side of counter sheet number 1. And then here's front side. This looks like front side of counter sheet number 2 right here. Got the German units on the right. Looks like we've got some allies on upper left only. The rest pretty much look like they're all Germans. And then we've got some other satellite countries as well. There's the backside, unavailable air units, effective air attack. So yeah, we've got some other stuff going on in the system for sure. Disruption probably means also no attack, because I see the no attack markers underneath. There's the depots supplies. There's the airfields for the Luftflotte, and they have their air capacities. So yeah, there's going to be, there are going to be rules in here. Absolutely. There, John Thiessen does a really good job, and he's expanded the system somewhat. So I don't want you to think it's totally beer and pretzels style game. But yeah, there you go. So I hope this gives you, this is the first look at the game. But again, there's going to be definitely some interaction, player decisions to make. It's not just going to be your typical factor fighting type game that's really simple to play. There's going to be some decisions to be made throughout the game. So hopefully that was a good preview. What I'd like to do next now is let's go East Front. Let's stick with World War II. Let's go with a game that is not on pre-order yet because it is so bloody huge. It's probably, I want to put this on the order of magnitude. Almost, it's not quite like Third World War series, which by the way is pretty much wrapping up now. I'll show the rules maybe in a week or two. Standard rules booklet's pretty much done, and we're just finishing the playbook. And then the game's going to the printer. So it's all just been proofing being done up to now, which is very important for the game. But there is a very big game that's also been worked on for some time now. It's the Pacific Theater World War II. If you loved Flat Top like I love Flat Top from Yaquinto and then Avalon Hill, my favorite gaming experience was Flat Top. We've got Bill Cooper is doing Beneath the Southern Cross. And if I showed you the spreadsheet of all the components that go into this game, you'd freak out. It's a lot of stuff, but I can't say it's as big as, say, Third World War series. Third World War series, that's big. That's 6 maps, tons of counter sheets, tons of displays. There are a lot of displays and things I will say about Beneath the Southern Cross, and I'll give you a sampling of that. But this is a really huge, and what I'd like to say is a very sexy looking package. It's going to be a very cool game. So there's some strategy cards that we're going to have for Beneath the Southern Cross. So we're going to share this with you just a little bit, what these strategy cards look like. There's a lot of interaction and things going on during the game. So let me just see if I can just scroll here to the next page. So there's going to be mandatory events in the game. There's a lot of different scenarios for Beneath the Southern Cross. Think of it as Flat Top, but it's not copying the game system. It's its own game system, and there's even more variables and variation brought in. A lot more going on with displays and cards that drives the game system. But yeah, we've got some mandatory events here that I can go through. So let me see if I can just go one page at a time. Might make it easier for me. So Lucky Break, Unexpected Oil Delivery, Construction, Base Construction Crews. Yep, that could help. Sudden storms, weather deterioration, that's going to hurt search, right? Or any operations. Corsairs roll out early. So we got the volcanic eruption in the game. Got to have that, right? So again, we've got a lot of great things going on as far as historical events for the game, but there's so much meat to the game already just with the operations and the search, just like Flat Top, but this is adding a new element to the game. So I just want to share with you, and there are events that are going to be mandatory. Others will be optional. If it's a mandatory event, that card, you have to play the event on the card. That's basically what's going to happen. But again, lots of stuff here. This is a huge game. just going to be a ton of components to it. But I can share with you, maybe the good news about it is we're not going to have 20 maps. It's not War in the Pacific. Believe it or not, it's 2 full-size maps. So these are the 2 full-size maps that are going to be coming together. They're going to be portrait mode. And again, this is going to look very similar if you know Flat Top. This is going to look very familiar to you because it's covering those operations that we see a lot with Flat Top. But the good news here, of course, is what? What's the good news here? I hope you'll say, well, the maps are done. The 2 maps are done. That means the game's getting further along. So yes, we're excited to say we've got some artwork to preview here. So we are definitely making progress with the project. And let me see if we can give you some better ideas of how the map looks. So there you go. There's a little bit more, some hexside terrain features, impassable hexsides, for example. But yeah, we got the different types of bases. We had those base cards, for example. So lots of fun stuff. We got the weather conditions. Search, of course, is going to be key. So there's a little bit of a zoom in for you. But again, it's only 2 game maps, and there's a lot of scenarios to the game as well. Lots of scenarios as well. So I hope this gives you a good idea. Give you just a quick tour of the map before we move on. So that's a good part right there. Yeah, let's take a deeper dive here just to give you a better idea of what we got going here. So yeah, I think this will give you a good idea of what we have in store coming in Beneath the Southern Cross. Not yet on pre-order because there are so many components. It's unbelievable. Lots and lots of components, but really cool components. There's going to be some port capacities that we're going to have at all the different shipping docks. So I'm not going to spend much time on this. But I do want to show you a very cool base card. So every card is going to have its own, I want to call it like a counter sled. So if you've seen, for example, Michael Resch's huge 1914 game, Twilight in the East, I want to say it's called. But he had these things that are like counter sleds. It's like using counter printed material, and you put pieces on top of it. But you get a lot of them in this game because you've got them for each of the bases. You've got them for each carrier. So this is where it gets really cool. So you've got these little counter sleds you can have off to the side or on the map that you're placing, your air units on and what the status is. So here's the artwork. You're getting one for each, each aircraft carrier in the game that has air capabilities here. So I'm just going through, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Also for ground forces, Turtle Bay, they're numbered. Some of these are numbered. Some are just base numbers. As you see here, here's the Americans. So this is going to be really cool because you're just going to need to have those counter sleds for what ships you have in that scenario. So this is what we're going to have. And what I meant by counter sleds, it's not like the wooden pieces that you put counters on top of. This is actually a piece of cardboard that's fairly thick that you just can sort of glide on top of the map. So it's really, I'm describing what you're seeing here, but they're called sleds. But I don't mean to confuse it with those counter sleds where you have like hidden counters. You actually place the counters on top of these on these displays right here. But again, very, very, very cool how that's coming together, I think. And let's talk about the air units. So there's 3 different sizes of units in the game. There's the half-inch, actually I believe it's 9/16 inch, if I'm not mistaken, 9/16 inch. Then it's the 5/8 inch counters. I don't have yet the naval counters to show you. Those are double wide counters, so a ½ inch by a full inch across. But here we have, as an example, a lot of these smaller air units that you can see. And the flip side is really interesting on these air units because you can see the armament values on them. So let me go ahead and get to the other side here. So here we can see the different ratings. So here's based on whether they're torpedoes or bombs. Here's where you're going to see what the shifts are that we're seeing as well. So definitely very cool what's on the back side of these counters. So I just want to share that with you as well. Let's scroll through some more here at some more of the counters. So here's the American counters, of course. Got your radar, got to have your radar. There's the back side showing the different ratings. More planes, more planes. It's a big game. This is like Flat Top on steroids, but the system's not like, it's not an uber complex game. It's just got really great components going with it. Here's where you're tracking the status of everything. You need your strength markers for air. So obviously, and also your base capacity markers. So we've got all that, port capacity markers, weather conditions all over the map in the different weather zones, of course. We've got that damaged in flight for air, fire for the aircraft, damaged aircraft. You got those fire markers in the bottom right. Markers galore, right? Markers galore, sinking. And then, of course, with big success with your air missions, there you go. You've got your sinking carriers, AFV. So again, lots of counters there, but there's more. These are the larger counters here, I believe here. No, actually, these are the half-inch. I just showed you I showed you the I think what were 9/16 inch. These are definitely look to be half-inch counters. These are smaller. So these are for all your searches. This is, again, to denote all your base activity in the game, all your fuel. Having supplies is going to be critical in the game, managing supply. So again, control markers, Japanese, allied player control of key locations, what areas are controlled. Here are those ground units. Yes, absolutely going to have ground units involved in play for sure. I know that was very much an afterthought in Flat Top. A little bit more coverage in this game. Got some emblems, search results. Search is going to be key. I'm sure these are also search flags, task force marker flags, etc. as well. So really gives you a flavor for what we have in the game. Cargo being shipped. Here's the torpedo markers. How many torpedoes? Effects of malaria. Those are mosquitoes. Those are actual mosquitoes, bottom right, by the way. So we've actually got malaria happening there, which was a factor, no doubt. So that's a one loss there for those ground units, absolutely. So that's going to be taking place. So again, you can see a lot of flavor in this game, absolutely. And so that's a lot about a game not even on pre-order yet, because there's so many components to it. It's just it is just crazy. Now this will be almost like a detergent size box, Mark. So although it's a lot of counter sheets, we haven't even got to the naval units yet. So I didn't even cover the double wide markers for the really nice looking naval units you're going to have. We didn't get into naval units at all yet. Those are those double wides that are still going to be worked on. But here we've got, you just saw all the counter sheets. We've probably gone through 8, 9, 10 counter sheets of 2 different sizes of all the different markers for the game. And again, the good news is there are smaller scenarios, so don't worry. Don't feel like this is going to take your life away to play. It's like Flat Top, in effect. You can have shorter duration games. But yeah, it's going to be a very big box. I think the size of box that Compass has done, I think the largest I've heard is 3 inches is what I want to say. But I want to almost say maybe 4 inches, because if you think of commands and colors, I wonder if that's a 4-inch box. So Bill can, when Bill returns, he'll be able to tell us about that. But this will definitely be going detergent style, I think, on the box for sure, Mark. So thanks, Russ. Yeah. And the project's not halfway done. Well, I guess the project's halfway done, but there's still a ton of player aids and displays that have to be done. Maybe that doesn't take as long. Could you imagine what proofing's like for a project like this, though? Can you imagine? I mean, that's why these games take a while. So anybody who thinks Compass comes out with games, no development, it's like Third World War series. We've spent 3-4 months just on the rules, just for proofing and development. So we're doing the same here. So this is going to be a while. That's why it's not on pre-order yet, because it's not about just doing artwork and then you're done. You've got to proof everything and get volunteers like yourselves and have you guys read it to say, does that make sense? Because we don't want to take errata questions or clarification questions after the game's release. We want to get it done up front. So I don't know about the air crews, because those would have showed up on the individual counters, Shin. But so I don't expect you're going to see the campaign for North Africa treatment for individual crewmen. I don't know what the effects were during the campaign, so that's a historical question that I can't answer. We'll have Bill Cooper on to assess how important crewman ratings were for these types of battles. But also, of course, you still need a level of abstraction for these games if you do want to actually play it and maybe finish it to a certain point, unless you're coming to Console World Expo and spending 8 days playing Beneath the Southern Cross with everything in it. But I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a module that comes out. We put it in Paper Wars. We add counters for aircrew status, but I don't expect we're going to have that. I don't know how you can attack the mosquitoes. There's no Imanity. There's no fly swatter markers, as you see here. It's only the yellow mosquito markers I'm showing right now off to the side there. So yeah, no, I don't know about the fly swatters. I think we're out of luck there, but, and you cannot ship mosquitoes unless they're in cargo. Maybe they're part of cargo. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Yeah, dysentery is sort of what the mosquitoes are. So I think that's where we're coming. Well, no, there was a different marker for that. We had dysentery. Didn't I see that earlier? I'm scrolling. Now you've got me thinking. I saw dysentery earlier. Maybe it was the different counter sheet. I thought I saw that. So for the ground, I thought there was a different condition for the ground units. Individual aircraft counters, it's individual silhouettes of groups of air units, because don't forget the air units have a numeric value to them. So I was showing, I'm probably not going to find it because there's too many bloody markers in the game. I'm going to try. These are 5/8 inch markers. These are 5/8 inch right. Here you go. So here's the 5/8 inch markers, Shin. So what's happening here is you've got the air markers, but then you're going to have these also with them, because you might be splitting them up, or what the actual value is of that formation. Maybe you're splitting it up into different groups of factors, especially for attacks. So it's not. So it could be individual aircraft if it's a 1 value. Yeah, I think probably it gets down to individual aircraft. I think this number is probably the raw number of actual aircraft. I don't think it's steps. I think it's probably individual aircraft. So yes, you're going to need a second box, Brian, for counter tray. So what we might do is maybe we'll do an extra 10% off if you buy 2 copies of the game for your counter tray allotment. Yes, it's hidden movement, absolutely. And one thing we always work with all designers on is to make sure there's a solitaire mode to the game. So there's some way to do it solitaire, but really, to be honest, absolutely. What's going to happen is there's going to be, which I haven't shown you yet. That will be later, right? So Mike, there's going to be displays for the map. So think of it as the 2 maps I can show you right here again. Oops, jumped the gun there, didn't I? Last time, I think I closed the map. Here's the map. So we got the maps right here, right? So what's going to happen here on the maps is you're going to have your own display for planning purposes, etc. So as far as searches and things like that, you can definitely put search markers on the map. There's going to be things taking place on the map for sure, but there's also some plotting, some simple plotting that happens. And we're going to provide, oversized. It's going to be folded, and then it's laminated, where you can use like a grease marker. So there are aspects to the game, definitely for like fleet movements and what you're going to be doing. So there's certain, not all aspects, because we don't want you drawing all over your, crazy displays, right? That's going to be a little crazy. But there are going to be certain things we want you to go ahead and put it on those displays and draw those out. But the searches and the results of searches and all that, those are counters. I just showed you those counter sheets with search results, weather conditions, those air units doing searches, etc. All that's going to be on the map. But it's still going to be somewhat, it's going to be very limited intelligence. Nothing's going to be known to the other side effectively, if that makes sense. And again, if you've played Flat Top, you probably sort of have a sense of what I'm talking about here, what I mean by that. But yeah, this is going to be one hell of a big game. Flat Top was fairly big. It is a fairly big game, but this one eclipses it on a magnitude that's just, it's going to be fun. So it's going to be a very big, fun game for sure. So I think that answered some of the questions there. So let's move on to, let's talk a little bit about John Butterfield. So just to let you know also for John Butterfield, we're getting ready to start playtesting shortly of World War II Commander Market Garden. So it's based on John Butterfield's World War II Commander Battle of the Bulge. So that's something we released over a year ago. It's got that area movement game, and it has an interesting history. It started as a board game, was never published as a board game. It initially came out, say, for the iPad as an iOS app for Shenandoah Studios. So it came out as an app. And then we went back to the original board game version, and John Butterfield just updated it, got it all set. And that was our World War II Commander game, our first game in the series. And this is a brand new title. So this is not a game that was ever put out on digitally for, say, the iPad, etc., or for computer gaming. So Market Garden is a brand new title for World War II Commander. So we're going to be putting out a call for playtesters in about a week. But I just want to let you know with John Butterfield, that's going to be a game of his design, or his system. And we have somebody else involved for developing the game, doing a lot of the heavy lifting, who's going to help us with leading the play testing with John Butterfield as well, assisting us. But yeah, we're really excited about that. But speaking of John Butterfield, since I've just mentioned him a little bit already, we've been doing a lot of proofing around Enemy Action Kharkov. So basically, everything's wrapping up on Kharkov now. So I just want to share you, here's the 2-player rules. And I'll zoom in just so you can see the rules here. Maybe it's better. You don't need to see me. So here you can see the good amount of illustrations. You're going to be familiar with this for Enemy Action Ardennes, which is, one of our most popular games, obviously, from John Butterfield. Everybody's asking about Kharkov here. So I feel like I'd be doing you an injustice tonight if I don't show you the rule booklets for this game, Kharkov. So again, this is the 2-player game. Here's the design notes right here from John Butterfield, and there's a sequence of play summary. Now, there's also the solo modes to the game. So also I want to talk about the 2 solo modes. And yes, we've been proofing, and pretty much I think we're just about wrapping up proofing of those 2 solo mode rule booklets. So let's take a quick peek at that really quickly. So let's start with the German solo rules. And thanks again to everybody who's helped us proof these rules. So again, this is if you're doing the German side solo. Again, lots of illustrations. It's going to help you through the system. Anybody familiar with Enemy Action Ardennes? You know exactly what's going on here with the rules. So this is your solo play rules. So what's nice about this system is you can play it separate rules for 2-player, or separate rules whether you're the Germans or the Russians. And these are the German solitaire rules. A little bit longer than the 2-player rules, I would imagine here. And there you go. And last but not least, you want to play the Soviets in the Kursk? Why not? Let's do it. So here's the rules for the Soviet side. Nice little example of a map set up here for the Soviets. Interesting. And again, we got some great proofing. We had a lot of people involved in proofing, so we're really confident about this set of rules. And of course, we're coming from Enemy Action Ardennes, and John Butterfield's got so much experience with other games using this system. So yeah, some really good illustrations to explain all the gameplay choices, what's possible. So yeah, really excited about that as well. So hope that gives you a good idea of the rules for Enemy Action Kharkov. And I think with that, there's one more. I hope I still have it displayed, so I believe I do. So another surprise announcement is, anybody recognize, if I can bring it up again, does anybody recognize this? Have you heard of this game? And the reason I want to mention this is we've done quite a bit of work with John Edwards. So my actual first project out with Compass, like week 1, was the African campaign, which we sold out of. And now we're doing the deluxe editions now at the printers for African campaign. And it's going to have a mounted map, and everything's been updated with the map, the counters, etc. So that's a John Edwards game. And then, of course, we got other games coming from John Edwards really soon. We've got Russian Campaign, the 1974, which is literally the first edition. I've got so many questions about which edition of Russian Campaign, because there's 5 different editions, and there's another product coming later, which is based on the latest edition. This is going back. John Edwards said he really prefers the simpler games, the classic simpler games. So when I asked him about, well, do you want the second Jedco 2 release of Russian Campaign? He said, no, I want the original. So we did that, but we worked in a bunch of rules from the second series. 2 rules are there optionally as well, most of the rules anyway. So we worked that in. And then we've got Victory at Sea. So I think all of you, maybe a lot of you have actually ordered Victory at Sea. So it's like based on War at Sea, same genre system, very easy, very playable. So Victory at Sea is going to be coming later this year. That's also obviously at the printers already for some time. But John Edwards did this game. And yes, absolutely. This is a Jedco. So this is another Jedco release. I believe it was, I want to say it was in the 70s, like 76 is what I want to say. So this came out back then. And we are working on, yes, you took the bait. We are working on a John Edwards version of this game. So I am trying to find where the link is for it. Oh man, gosh, I think I lost the link. Oh no, it's in the PDF. I think that's why. My apologies. I'll get this straightened out. So there we go. Let's try again. So here we have it. So it's Europe at War. So here is a proposed box cover. So again, John Edwards, it's revisiting a classic from the 70s. It's really taking a page out of the book of the original Russian campaign, the original Victory at Sea, which was in the early 80s, and now Europe at War. So we're cleaning up the rules because we discovered early on there's a lot of sort of rule situations that just didn't get covered by John Edwards. That's just his style of writing. So we've already gone through a pretty heavy rules edit, and we've added rules in to make sure the game is not going to be triggering rules questions, because it's really an easy to play game. And as you'll see from the map that we've taken a first swing of the bat on, so here's the map. So the original map is right here as a reminder with the counters on it. We don't have the counters done yet. I'll show you that in a little bit, but they'll be big, large size, 3/4 inch counters, most likely. But yeah, here's the map at least to give you an idea. So we're adding a few things to the map, helping out players to play the game, like sequence of play wasn't on the original map. So any mnemonics we can add to the game. We're always looking to improve those the earlier games, and even the most simple games. They can definitely be improved because they usually never had setup displays ever, or they had really crude setup displays, nothing like reinforcements or order of appearance cards. So that's what we did, for example, with Russian Campaign. We made that look much better from the 74 edition. And the map itself, I'd say the map pretty much is in line with what you just saw from the original, but we are adding a few things here or there that's going to be tied into the rules. That's going to make gameplay even easier here. This map is not done yet, so we'll put it out there for some feedback. I know we got some feedback on Victory at Sea that the boundary lines weren't thick enough. So I think these are boundary lines at the same thickness as we had for Victory at Sea. We can make them a little bit thicker if we need to. But this literally is what's going on in this game. There's really not much more than what you see. What you see right here, that's basically what you have here with our map. That's what's happening with our map here. That we're doing. So it's going to be largely similar to a pretty large degree. But again, we're going to add little things where we can that make sense. So that is my version. What time is it? Okay, I did pretty good. I haven't taken your questions though, but I feel bad about that. So apologies in advance that I've missed your comments. So we're going to open up. What I'll do right now is, so we've covered a lot of stuff tonight. What have we covered tonight so far? Let's do that at the very end. Let's go to your questions. So I want a revisit of Advanced Third Reich. I don't know if you have, GMT has done sort of the A World at War is sort of the latest rendition of Advanced Third Reich, which takes it, the same people that did Advanced Third Reich are doing A World at War. So I don't know if that's something, Ken, you have already or not, yes or no. But that's sort of the ultimate gaming experience. It's probably one of the most involved games. There's a famous post on Board Game Geek. Everybody says it's the single best post on Board Game Geek for any war game ever produced. It's probably like a 50-page. It's like a book. Somebody wrote a book about just learning A World at War and his experience, and it's an amazing thing to read. I've read part of it. I haven't read through all of it, but yeah, Advanced Third Reich, we wouldn't have the rights for that game necessarily. But again, yeah, I totally understand. Okay, bolder colors. I like the bolder colors of the original. So great feedback, Tony. So yeah, it is. I'm looking at this, and yeah, it's really toned down quite a bit. So what do you guys think? Do you like it? If you want the bolder colors of the map, give me a thumbs up. Let me know bolder colors on map. We'll take it back. We'll bump it up a little bit. If you'd like to see that, let me know. We'll be able to do that. No problem at all. Questions. How is Civil War coming? So I believe, James, this would be Eric Lee Smith's Civil War. In that case, I don't believe we've actually started project work on it yet, but to be honest, I know the goal is to treat it largely as a reprint. I don't believe we're looking at changing really any of the rules to the game. But I think we still would want to have Eric Lee Smith engaged and available. And right now he's been busy with Battle Hymn 2. But this is really a question for Bill. And when Bill joins us, let's ask Bill about Civil War. The reason I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking up in the sky, I'm trying to pull the answer, is I'm really trying to recall if we would need Eric to start the project, because if it's more of a straight reprint, you could almost start right away with the project work. So I'm just not sure if that's the stand on that or not. So thanks for backing me, E4 Airman, on that one. Bismarck has been worked on, and I believe we finished the proofing of that, which was done by a small team. If you're interested in seeing Bismarck at all, let me know. Shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to do that. So I will give feedback to Europe at War that you want a bolder, more original map, and we'll make Germany pink. We'll be happy to make Germany pink just for you, John. I'm gonna send you a pink version of Germany just for you. So we will do that. And then we won't go crazy with the bolder colors, so don't worry. It won't be like ABBA, the music group ABBA, or anything like that, or Disney World, Disneyland, where every color sort of throws up on screen. We will do bolder, but in a tasteful, can I say bolder, in a tasteful manner. And if there's a map sheet that you like, for example, we looked earlier at, here's an example. What about this map right here? So there's Pontiac's War. That's pretty colorful. I mean, those are pretty bright colors when you look at the colors inside of the fortifications and the areas, the circled areas, for the fortifications, etc. I can see what colors are coming off here. So maybe that would be an idea. You want colors going along those lines. So we'll see. Everybody gives thumbs up. We need to do something there. Yes, also, I haven't given an update yet on Red Eclipse. That's another game I definitely want to see on pre-order before end of Q2, which is end of, we got 2 months till end of Q2. But basically, we've got one of our people is working directly on the artwork already for Red Eclipse, and that's going to be like that NATO. We're starting with the NATO front version. That's the one everybody's been waiting for. So Red Eclipse is what we're looking for, and we're just going over the files right now, to be honest. So once I get the final thumbs up on most of the files, I'm going to start working on the pre-order page for sure. And we are missing. Yes, we're all missing because you're all stuck with me tonight. Absolutely. I would not blame you for missing Bill right now because you're stuck with me. Bolder colors and different coloring. Thank you for that. Yes, we're going to go bold versus wimpy. Absolutely. Although we will do pink. We are considering pink for the Germans. So there you go. Artwork for Prelude to Revolution. We have not started artwork for Prelude to Revolution yet. That's going to be starting, I think, about a month out. I think we're still a month out based on how projects are stacking on that one. I'm glad I didn't really answer. I gave James a non-answer to Civil War, but we'll ask Bill when he's on. Yes, you could always do something crazy like that. But it would be a mounted map, so actually probably not, unfortunately. War for America, yes. Bill Thomas has gone through the game already in his basement. His basement of basements, I like to call it. We need to give his basement an official name. I think we should christen it with some special name. But he had been playing it in the basement. I've seen some questions come through from him. He wants to make sure, as with every game, there's not a question that goes unanswered. He wants to make sure the game can be set up and played with no problem. Otherwise, we slip in a little errata slip if we get worried about anything for setup. But he's gone through that already. So we should see it later in the summer, that game as well. let's see. We'll call the map a prototype, which it is for Europe at War. We actually need to do something to actually get feedback on the map, to be honest, because it's such an early classic style map from John Edwards. Sort of different looking. You have to admit it is pretty different looking. It's always good to have a prototype map to throw out there just to sort of gauge interest from response from everybody. We'll ask Bill about Kharkov battles because unfortunately that is not my project. Spitfire Ace will be coming after Interceptor Ace 2. So the artwork is getting done now for Interceptor Ace 2. And then we're going to move on. The artist is not available, unfortunately, right now because of how projects are stacked up right now. So Spitfire Ace, the playtest and everything is there to do. There's playtest materials to be had. You can see the rules for the game. But the actual artist is not yet available yet, just to let you know. And yes, you're going to get Pink Panthers also in Europe at War. Yeah, I think this is what Bill's shooting for, to be honest. So absolutely makes sense to do that, I believe. So, and we'll back to the map. We'll definitely, that's my own note actually I had for the map. Pontiac map, thanks for the thumbs up on the Pontiac map. Brian, I'll take your advice. We'll pull out a 30-40 styles map of Europe. That's actually a really good idea because that map's a pretty simple. It's meant to be a very abstract looking map because there's only a few things meant to be on it. As you can see, it was pretty much a plain map for Europe at War. So we'll definitely take a look at that. Let's see here. Yes, Bill's Bunker. Thank you, Mo, for reminding me. I think it is called Bill's Bunker, actually. Yes, Spitfire Ace. We just talked about that question. So it is pretty much done, as I said. It can't go into production until we get the artwork going. So that's what we're waiting on now. Yeah, Contact Now, actually, that's the game we were just talking about earlier for NATO. So that game, just to be clear, Contact Now series, that is the game that all the artwork, there's been a lot of artwork done already. And what we're doing now, and the artist who did the work is an artist we've worked with before at Compass, so that's really good news. We're basically going through all the art files to make sure they fit the printer spec that we need. So there's a few adjustments being made to some of the art files, for example. But yeah, the game's Contact Now, that one's basically done, but it's not done in terms of the graphics files. That's the part we're still working on. Hang Glider Ace, so we'll let Greg talk about that one. Yes, there are other quad games coming from Compass in the future. There's one I know that I'm going to be involved in that I can't announce yet. Other than I'll say it's from a new designer we haven't worked with before who was also at SPI. So I'll leave you with that. How's that? I didn't want to leave you empty on that one. So great. So again, I hope this format was okay. So obviously, I haven't had a chance to spend time with you guys just one-on-one, to be honest, in a few months. So I thought what made the most sense, since we didn't have a designer, was I wanted to show you. I didn't show you everything I could because I know I can't show you everything within an hour of it for a show like we've done tonight. But I definitely want to be able to show you as much as we can on various projects. So we covered about 7 or 8 games tonight, I believe, starting with America Tank Ace, finishing up with Europe at War. We covered World War II Pacific. We've got Pontiac's War. We've covered Eastern Front battles. We covered, that Beneath the Southern Cross. That's that World War II Pacific game. That one we covered, quite a bit tonight, actually. So we've definitely covered, I think, as far as games themselves, I think we've covered quite a bit. Enemy Action Kharkov. Looking at the rules for that. Some games I could have covered, as an example, that I didn't cover is Fall of Tobruk, Chris Fawcett's game, Fall of Tobruk. Nice simulation, again, of Gazala, Fall of Tobruk, Gazala battles. We did an interview on that several months ago. Really great feedback on that. Also the artwork, tremendous feedback on the artwork. That one's going through final proofing. We've already proofed it, actually. So final proofing phase where we're hoping next week to get the files to the printer. So actually the only thing I have left for Fall of Tobruk is I'm doing the rules index for the back cover. I like putting a rules index on every back cover project I do. So I do have to do the rules index for Fall of Tobruk, and that will be next week. So definitely can talk about that. Also, Manassas has seen some movement again, almost like the Civil War. They're out of their encampments again. The artwork is out. It's marching again. So the designer, Richard Britton, he's also known as Rick, has been working with Newt Grunitz on adjustments to the map, because the way the map was done and the terrain features, certain hexes, you couldn't quite be 100% sure, is this hex supposed to be treated as this terrain feature or not? So we were filling in a few questionable hexes with the maps to get those set, and then we're moving on to the counters next week. So there's Manassas. There's definitely been steady work. It's just taking a long time. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but I think it's really also a reflection of the care and painstaking research. If you think about Danny Parker as a person, he's written some incredible books on the Ardennes, Battle of the Bulge, and he's a research guy. So this whole research minded is going into his Hitler's Last Gamble, because this is sort of the be-all, end-all for him. This is Danny Parker's Hitler's Last Gamble Designer Signature Edition, and he's got a project team for years that have worked with him on this, and this is not where you want to drop the ball and screw something up. So our proofing, to be honest, is definitely at a slower pace, but it's more iterations. There's more iterations going on. I think the map's gone through 30, 40 iterations. The counter sheets went through 20 iterations. So that level of detail for the map, we looked at single hexes, and if the road network didn't go around the town or where the river is situated properly and the road network was more abstract, Danny would step in and make sure the road network was drawn more appropriately on the map to get a true geographic representation of the Ardennes. So that's what's happened with Hitler's Last Gamble. It's going through. It is making progress. The artist is working on it, but yes, it's taking some time as well. So, and there's other projects we can get into as well. But again, time is tight. I just want to thank you all again. I hope this was a good session, just to level set on a bunch of things. So as a reminder, if you've been waiting for Korean War, I hope you're excited that the game's now already shipping out to you. Really was a pleasure to work with Joe Bukowski. This is really one of his great designs. I know the great campaigns of American Civil War gets a lot of his attention, to be honest. But it was an absolute treat working on Korean War. And keep in mind, when you get the game, don't freak out that it's 4 maps. All the basic scenarios, there's 5 of them. You can do just 2 maps, and we've got special player aid cards, so you can put the other 2 maps and put them back in the box, and then you can have those additional charts and tables. So I hope you're excited about Korean War, absolutely. And again, we've got Joe Bukowski's St. Lo now on pre-order. While it's getting to the factory, please look at Joe's St. Lo game. Definitely worth checking out. Don't forget our April specials ends in about 2 days. Look at Compass Expo. You might just have to do a search for it. It's also on our news item. If you click on news, you'll see the information about Compass Games Expo on Veterans Day weekend, and I will add a link to the main nav to help you find it a little more easily. But just remember, when you pay for the registration, you still have to register online and fill out that Google form rather, and we can take care of you at that point. And yes, we got a lot of great projects going on at Compass. To be honest, for next week, I do not know if Bill Thomas returns next week. If so, we'll be back with Compass Games Town Hall. If not, we're going to get together again next Thursday night. So again, I want to thank you all so much for your time today. Thanks for your great questions. And if I missed anything, just reach out to me. I'm at john@compassgames.com, and I look very much forward to seeing you guys all again very soon. All right, take care, everybody. Have a good night, and I will see you again next Thursday. Bye-bye.